Watch now, rarest golden age muscle cars in existence, GTO Judge convertible. If you ask most automobile enthusiasts what the first true muscle car was, it is highly likely they will respond swiftly and authoritatively with three simple letters. GTOO. There are numerous examples of sedate, mid-size cars with hot engines shoehorned in them that predate the GOAT. But the exact formula for what a true muscle car is was clearly established by the GTO proof is a host of other manufacturers rushed to package their own version of it, thus acknowledging there was a new automotive sector at hand upon the GTO's release. There were 4 distinct generations of the GTO, save for the Australian Holden Monero-based car, released in Wallaficionado, all have their favorite body style and model year. There is little disagreement in the second generation, and in particular, the Judge variant. Represented the performance zenith of the GOAT in the last year of Judge production. There were only produced of those only a mere were convertibles, making the Pontiac GTO Judge convertible a perfect car to collect. Before we get into the intricacies the Judge ragtop, it behooves us to briefly explore the origins of the GTO that led up to the Judge development in the mid-S Pontiac general manager. Seaman Bunky Kudon was given the charge to reinvigorate the then-struggling GM division and transform it from a grandpa brand to something more youth-oriented. To do this, Kudon brought in young cutting-edge designers such as John, DeLorean Bill Collins, and Russ G. Under this new regime, Pontiac styling became leaner and the cars lighter and more powerful. Successful NASCAR and NHRA campaigns completed the transformation that is until when GM instituted a ban on racing and set a policy that no mid-size cars were to have engines larger than cubic. And this would put a serious dent in Pontiac's resurrection as a performance brand. However, the solution came from a regular what-if session. DeLorean, Collins, and G. had one day the designers were looking at a prototype Lemons sitting on a lift. Legend has it Collins offhandedly said to DeLorean, "You know, John, it would take about minutes to stick A in here." DeLorean agreed, "Let us try it first." Gen the Pontiac L-Man, SGTO convertible, and thus the GTO, a name swiped by DeLorean from the then-dominant Ferrari Gran Turismo Amato race car, was born at the same time. So was the concept of the muscle car. A mid-sized automobile sans frills with a large, high-performance engine under the hood and suspension and brakes upgraded enough to make it handle. DeLorean loaned their GTO a lawn coupe with a topped-off with a tri-power setup and a 4-speed to a variety of executives at GM. It was so beloved that DeLorean often had trouble getting the car back, but how would get it into production with the cubic capacity limit in place? The design team solved the problem by noting and skirting a loophole in the edict. The wording suggested it only applied to base engines, but no mention was made about optional power plants. With that, the GTO bomb was dropped on an unsuspecting America in September as an option package for the Lands. The L-Man S-crisp styling mated to a serious performance drivetrain was just what the public didn't know they wanted. Within a year, nearly cars were sold, an unqualified smash hit. The GTO's success was such that in Pontiac cleaved it from the Lands and made it a standalone model in the lineup. The car received a refresh with a longer wheelbase cutting, Coke bottle styling, and a plusher interior. This generation continued on with mechanical and aesthetic upgrades, till when a complete redesign was performed, crisp lines and right angles gave way to curved fastback styling, and the overall dimensions and wheelbase were shortened. Other design changes included a horizontal layout for the headlights, with concealed headlights in option A, the Chevy Camaro, and a protruding nose section. Additionally, the Endura bumper, a Bodic color closed-cell urethane foam fascia, replaced a traditional chrome bumper. The public liked what it saw, and sales topped units, which would end up being the second-best sales year for the GTO. Here comes the Judge, a significant standout of the second generation. Was a new model known as the Judge, a nod of the head to a recurring comedy skit. Here come the Judge on the GH, on the THO, and Martin S. laughing TV show $1. Package introduced in the Judge came with ram air induction, a cub-in, V8 churning out horsepower, a Hurst shifter with T, handle rally 2 wheels with wider tires, a rear deck lid spoiler, and decals announcing this was the Judge, a Judge convertible with the honeycomb wheels the second generation carried on for, and with interesting upgrades along the way, including trim and styling changes, a cubic inch high output, BHN ponies. Other changes were suspension modifications, a dashboard-operated vacuum exhaust system, and a variety of new colors for the Judge, which had previously only been available in carousel red. Despite all these changes, sales for the GTO, and the Judge in particular, began to decline to combat this. Pontiac gave the car an audacious facelift, which included changes to the front fascia, a new hood and grille, an available bolt open, or SAF, T-track posy traction rear end. The high-output Vestanord on the Judge and Judge convertible. Sadly, these modifications were for naught and upping sales, as GM had instituted an edict reducing compression ratios in preparation for the coming unleaded gasoline and stricter EPA regulations. This reduced the output of the hoe to horsepower, and pound-feet of torque. Sales plummeted, with only GTOs moving off the assembly line, and only Judge models sold. But Pontiac's pain-in is a modern enthusiast's gain, as only of those Judge models were convertibles. This puts it on equal footing in the rarity stakes with such luminous and legendary muscle cars as the two Hemi Cuda convertibles. All Judge models came standard in with the Ram air hood. Induction kit options on the Judge convertible included the turbo, high-dramatic speed, automatic transmission, a ride and handling package, bold honeycomb patterned wheels, a hood-mounted tack body color, sport mirrors, power brakes, and a Formula steering wheel. Interior amenities included a gauge package for the dashboard, air conditioning, power locks and windows, a floor console, AM radio, and an 8TRCK tape player, a mean green machine despite the compression ratio reduction, and the attendant drop in horsepower motor trend nonetheless wrestled a Judge speed to a second to time and a mile acceleration time of seconds. At MPH still he stuffed for owing to its muscly looks, potent drivetrain, and serious rarity. The key differences in performance between the hoe and the Ram air engines. The H and Ram air engines in the Pontiac GTO Judge primarily revolve around power output, torque, and drivability. Power output: the Ram air engine was rated at horsepower, while the hoe was rated at horsepower. Despite similar horsepower, the hoe had a lower compression ratio. Due to emissions regulations. Torque: the hoe produced significantly more torque with pound-feet compared to the Ram AS pound-feet. This gave the hoe better low-end performance. Drivability: the Ram air engines were known for being temperamental at low speeds, whereas the hoe was smoother and more practical for everyday driving. What is the current market value of a GTO Judge convertible? This varies significantly based on its condition and originality. Auction results indicate that prices can range from around $1 to as high as $1 for models in excellent condition. Generally, these cars are highly valued due to their rarity and historical significance, with perfect condition models fetching the highest prices. Sadly, most of the remaining ones rarely see the light of day outside of occasional car shows, as their value is too great to routinely drive. Thanks for watching.